This is your Thursday live show with Guys at the Bar Talking Sports.
What? Are you doing season 2 of that stupid show?
Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports.
Hey everybody, welcome to Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. This is your boy Hanger, and we are not at a bar tonight because apparently Anthony's britches are too big for himself right now. Sorry. And they scheduled a band at our bar that we go to. So we actually are at the Hangers Hangout, my house, doing the show. We're going to call it Hangers Hangout.
Hangers Hangout.
Does that work?
That works.
All right. I just came up with that on the fly.
Might have to get a sign
Hangers
in neon.
Not Hangers Hostel, no. We don't want to go with that.
No, Hangers Hangout's good. I mean, I could get some neon signs and some Budweiser, and we could turn it into the bar.
Yeah.
But this is guys at Hangers House, at Hangers Hangout, talking sports tonight, all right? And there's a lot of stuff going on right now. It's been a hard week on coaches like Dan Mullen, and a really hard week on Cincinnati, who really got kind of screwed by the committee, but we'll talk about that to see what everyone's thoughts are, because you hear people saying screwed by the committee, but other people say, well, it's legitimate, and we'll hash that out tonight, and then we'll get into some other topics as well, because we came up with a couple of good things to talk about today, but it feels a little weird being not at the bar. What do y'all think about that? I mean,
yeah, not enough drunk people around us right now, so...
Yeah, the sound quality might be slightly better because
there you go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we need to
bush.
We really need to get some plates dropping and all that stuff, just to get the good quality sound. We were even thinking about putting some bar noise behind us, but I just decided to go with some Sirius XM and just listen to that. So. Let's go ahead and jump into this thing and go ahead and introduce everybody that is here today. You got me, Hanger, and I am drinking a Heineken tonight.
Wow.
I know, right?
From Holland.
From Holland. So my wife thought it was from Germany. I'm like, no, it's Holland. It's from Holland. So, and it has good taste as long as you're not drinking it straight from the bottle. It's kind of weird, but if you drink it from a mug of some sort, it tastes way better than it does out of the bottle. That's my thought.
So it's got like that skunk smell on top when you open from the bottle. Not
from the bottle, yeah. It's the green. If a bottle's green, it's going to have a skunkiness to it because there's some sort of chemical reaction that happens with the light going through the green bottle, and it's intended to have that skunky smell, apparently, or else they would change it. But I wonder if they get that in a can. Who knows? Anyway, we got our man Chief over here.
Hey.
Chief, thanks for coming to my house. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a ginger lime.
And you switched glasses. Why is that?
Well, because I'm at your house.
Okay.
They wouldn't let me have the one from the bar.
Oh, well, that got you. Well, you know, they probably get sick of topping it off with ice all week while you're not there, too.
Probably.
That kind of, you know. And then we got my man, the Ripper.
Hey.
What are you drinking, Ripper?
Dos Equis Lager.
Why did you bring Dos Equis?
I heard something about quesadillas being made, so I thought that'd be a good combo.
Were they good?
Delicious.
Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you very much, by the way.
Listen, at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, we have full catering during events, you know. Like, we're balling at this point. Big money.
Yeah, we were sponsored tonight, basically.
Yeah. And you would think that the show is making tons of money by the looks of my mansion. You know?
It is gorgeous. I love your home.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We got Who's Your Daddy? Who's Your Daddy? You get to drink your favorite beer tonight.
Yes, I'm back to Busch Light in the number one dad glass.
Number one dad glass, yeah.
After I came into your home. So appreciate you having us here tonight.
No problem. I got 2 of those for Father's Day, so I figured one of them's in the dishwasher right now. But I had one left over, and I was like, you know what? You are the best Who's Your Daddy in town, number 1. So we'd go ahead and give you that one today.
He's known as the number 1 daddy in town, I think. I don't know.
And I'll make somebody a good wife someday, too. house cleaning, and tomorrow I got to mop the floors. I mean, tell it like it is.
Hey, man, whatever it takes.
Kid knows.
All right. Clearly, the biggest thing that happened this week in sports is
Ripper.
What happened, Ripper, in sports this week?
Well,
you were just saying something.
Are you talking about the playoffs? Or are you talking about
I don't know.
Topic number one.
Topic number one: the World Series.
World Series?
Who won the World Series?
The Atlanta Braves won in 6 games.
Insane, man.
Yeah.
Did you call that?
No, Chopper and I were 5 games.
That's right, because I was going to buy y'all a beer. If
Yeah.
that was the case. Okay, but my man, the Chief, called it in 6 games.
Did you call it in 6? Boom.
That's
well
pretty
done.
good, man.
Well done.
I know.
I think you owe him a beer.
I didn't say that about his, because that's a realistic...
I thought there was some beers on the line that they would sweep.
I really do think that we have a lot of beers coming to us, but we
Yes.
have a lot of beers going out next week when...
Who said... I don't
the
think
Rooster.
Did the Rooster?
The Rooster bet us lots of beers, and then he lost and won, so I think he's even.
Yeah.
So,
There was a lot of beers
yeah.
to keep track of when you're drinking beers.
Yeah, it was bad. But if any of our fans want to go back and check last week's show, just to make sure that we get this thing right, and then you guys can tell us who
Call
owns
in.
what beers. Call in. Yeah, there we go. So what happened? 6 games. They went back to Houston. They win. Atlanta wins. First time since 1995. Anything exciting there? I mean,
A couple of things. Beginning of the season, first 3 months of the season, they were like a 4.5 ERA.
Atlanta was looking rough in the
They were
beginning of the
looking
season.
terrible. They finished the last 3 months, when you include the World Series in that last 3 months, 2.98 ERA. Their pitching was spot on
Wow.
out of the bullpen.
Okay.
Starters struggled a little bit, but out of the bullpen.
Nice.
Of the top 5 postseason pitchers, 4 of the 5 were Braves.
Yeah, they were just...
I think it's the first team in history to ever have a losing record at the All-Star break and come back and win the World Series.
wow.
They struggled. And then the other little tangent out on the end there was, if you think back, they took the All-Star game away from Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then they end up winning the World Series, which is kind of unique.
Which they got to play the World Series in Atlanta, or 3 games of
Right.
it.
Yeah, there was a lot of memes going around about that, and I was trying not to post that on the Guys of the Bar Talking Sports Facebook group. Join it if you can, because it's there's a little bit of politics going on in that too, so I kind of shied away from it.
So, Freddie Freeman for Atlanta and Jose Altuve for Houston each had 5 home runs in the postseason. Not in the World Series, but the postseason.
Okay.
Freeman had 11 RBIs, so he led postseason with RBIs. Eddie Rosario for the Braves had 23 hits and 11 RBIs, so he was tied with Freddie Freeman for most postseason RBIs. So it's like everything came together for Atlanta, and honestly, that Grand Slam Hotel in Game 5, I mean, that's only the second Grand Slam Hotel in home run, not hotel. Grand Slam home run in the World Series.
Gotcha. Okay. So, what do you got?
So I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw it, getting passed around on social media.
You believe everything you hear on social media?
Yes.
Ripper?
Well, I like
Yes,
the
I
truth
do.
getting in the way of a good story.
There is nothing fake on social media. So
But
no.
it was cool. It's a cool story anyhow. I don't know if it's true. Probably not, but maybe. So talking about how Hank Aaron, his number was 44. The Braves were 44 and 44 at the All-Star break. They won 44 games after the All-Star break, and they scored 44 runs during the World Series. So
Are we living in a simulation?
I mean, what they're saying is, you can't tell me that Hank didn't have something to do with this. So that's a pretty cool story if all those numbers actually, check out.
Do they really check out?
I don't
44 runs in the World Series?
Well, I guess you could probably do the math. They played 6 games.
Okay, I'm not going to do the math. 'cause
Yeah.
that's way
7
too
runs a
hard to
game,
do.
no way.
I don't know. But
So-
anyhow, if it is true, that's pretty dang cool.
That is pretty cool. I don't believe it, but our fans can always check us, and we do have people in the back. So hey, y'all in the back, go ahead and check
Yeah,
this
check
out
the
for us
44 theory.
really quick. Did anyone doubt that Atlanta would win this thing, though? They were on fire throughout the playoffs.
This guy right here.
Yep.
My man, Who's Your Daddy,
Daddy.
thought Houston would win.
I thought they would win.
You were pulling for
let
Dusty
me
Baker?
down. Because for Dusty Baker, I'm a fan of his.
24
I just
times
thought
gone
going to Atlanta, they had too much firepower, but give credit to Atlanta's pitching. They shut them down.
Were you biased though? Did you have money on this thing?
No, I had no money on that.
Okay. I'm just making sure because sometimes.
But you're a Dusty Baker fan.
Dusty Baker.
Okay. I mean that I assumed that Atlanta would win. They were on fire. Houston was good, and they were pretty darn good. But Atlanta just had the team ready to play this
I
season.
was worried about their pitching going into the series. I wanted them to win, but I thought Houston would because Houston's pitching going into the series was on fire.
Yeah.
And it's like they just flipped.
And it really comes down to pitching a lot of times in baseball. Everyone has relatively good batters, I guess. It's the pitching that really wins the game, I would assume.
So now we don't have to talk about baseball for 6 months.
Yeah,
right?
so let's give up on baseball for the next 6 months because we literally, if we were a car driving down the road, it's like we got college football in the running shotgun with us, right? In the back seat, we have college basketball. And then in the very back, we have NFL football. And then every so often, squeezing in the middle, we throw baseball in there. So, but we are definitely riding shotgun with college football, and that transitions us over to the second biggest thing in college sports this week, which was the playoff committee in their top 4. This is controversial. Hugely controversial with the top 4 they put in there. And it's based upon the fact that Oregon won against Ohio State, but Oregon does not play anybody worth a crap. And they still got in the top 4 because Ohio State was number 5. And I think that they had to push Oregon in just because of that. Because clearly Ohio State's probably the 5th best team. They're in the top 5, probably more like 4. And I would say the way that they're playing right now. The playoff committee always bases it on how things are going right now, not based too much upon the past, right?
Alabama?
Okay, so first...
Hold on. Strength of schedule going into the rest of the season is critical. Cincy got pulled back because they have the 51st toughest schedule going.
Oh, yeah, they have the second
for
weakest
the rest
schedule
of the season.
Of the top 25 teams, they have the second weakest schedule of those teams.
But back to your point, when you're talking about they're supposed to only look at this season and not previous seasons, if that were true, ain't no way in hell Alabama's sitting there at number 2.
Do you think they're in the top 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
4 or 5, but they shouldn't be 2.
Yeah, they threw them a bone throwing Alabama in the top.
But their strength of schedule is so hard. They have the
they
third
set it
hardest
up
schedule.
to whoever wins the SEC champion. They're still able to. Georgia or Alabama still going to be 4th. Probably.
Well, hold on. If Alabama, that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit tonight. So you have Georgia, Alabama, Michigan State, and Oregon. Oregon, their destiny is controlled by their own destiny. Michigan State controls their destiny. If Ohio State beats them, they still have to play Ohio State and who else? It's another. They have to play 2 more ranked teams. I know that.
I don't know if they played Penn State yet.
Yeah, so they have Penn State and Ohio State still to play. So that's Michigan State. Ohio State still has to play. Who are they playing at the end of the season?
We've got Michigan. We got Nebraska.
Yeah.
Then I forget who. Then we got Michigan State and Michigan.
Yeah. So you guys have
and Purdue.
You guys have some solid teams to play.
Oh yeah, we got one of the hardest remaining schedules in the country.
So assuming that you guys win out on all of those and win the Big Ten, you're good.
Yeah, because we're jumping. Yeah. We're bumping Michigan State out.
Yeah. The only ones that I'm looking at. So if you look at Alabama and you look at Georgia.
Okay, so Michigan State has Purdue, Maryland. Those are 2 cake games coming up.
Yeah.
Well, they play Ohio State also, so that's going to take care of it.
That's really going to be the game to watch.
And Purdue isn't a cake game.
No,
as we've
Purdue's
seen.
not a cake. And they got Penn State
and I think
at home.
that'll be an upset. I think Purdue gets beat this week, and so does Oregon. One of the two is going down.
Oh, you think Michigan State's going to get beat by Purdue?
The spread's only 2.5, and it's at Purdue.
Right.
Okay.
And they've been a spoiler in the past. I just looked at those top 4 teams. I think those 2 will lose this weekend.
Well, what benefits Michigan State is Michigan State's ranked 3rd and not 2nd. Purdue has this thing about knocking off number 2 ranked teams. They've done it more than anybody
number
in the
3
country.
ranked teams. I mean, it just
No. Specifically, Purdue has knocked off the number 2 team in the country 13 times.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like 9 times more than anybody else. So there's kind of that whole,
That's mystique.
Yeah, I was going to say mystique.
Isn't it ironic? You talk a lot about Alabama that of the top 4 schools, the other 3 schools' head coaches were assistants to Nick Saban.
Oh, wow.
In 2015.
Okay. Interesting.
So there's 4 teams all have an association with Saban. But
What was the Mel Tucker Association? There was something about Mel Tucker as well.
I'm not sure.
He was an assistant.
Was he an assistant there?
In 15. All 3 of those guys were assistants in 15 to Saban.
Do they have the top 4 right?
Who?
Do they have the top 4 right?
I think they have the top 2 right.
I don't think Alabama's number 2.
No. I mean, okay, I should rephrase it. I think they have 2 of the top 4 right.
Okay.
Okay.
I do think right now
Georgia's clearly number 1.
and Alabama's in the top 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see Oklahoma drop all the way down.
To 8th.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That
Third in the AP.
Yeah.
I think third in the AP. And they looked really good this past weekend. Mm-hmm. To drop them all the way down to 8. When you look at the playoff committee, though, it's not your typical pollster, assumption. If you go all the way back to the very first year they did it, Florida State, the reigning national champions from the year before, went undefeated
Up to that point.
up until the playoffs.
Yeah.
They were 13-0 going into the playoffs. But they had dropped down to 3rd place because they didn't have great showings and they didn't have a great, strength of schedule.
Right.
So even though they were undefeated, the defending national champions still dropped in the polls.
So behind those doors, there's some sort of weighting. They're doing a weighted averages on certain things. They have to.
I think a lot of it's the eye test. I think head-to-head matters clearly with the whole, we can't put Ohio State too high because they got beat by Oregon, and until they lost, it's only right to put them there. Even though Oregon looked like crap for about a 4 or 5 week period.
Yep.
Well, so did Ohio State.
They're beatable. They're totally beatable.
So did Ohio State for the first 4 weeks of the season. That's why they got beat.
And now
Since then,
Ohio
they look
State's-
like a different team.
Yeah.
But you can't take that blemish off of them. But it didn't really hurt them that bad because they can make up for it with the rest of their schedule.
I feel sorry for Luke Fickell. I think this gives him. Now he will decide that he will probably take another job
LSU.
after this.
Okay.
To get in a Power 5 conference. I also feel sorry for Wake Forest with their claim. Had they be called Clemson Deacons, maybe they wouldn't have. Would Clemson have dropped? They both play in the ACC. Would Clemson have dropped like they did?
Absolutely
Being in the
not.
direction? No,
Right.
no.
If they would have won all of their games,
There's no way.
up to this point, the only game that
So
they would have.
I feel sorry for Clemson as well as Cincinnati, and just like during the showcast, they say looking behind. Cincinnati better look behind. You got Oklahoma who's undefeated.
Yeah.
You got two undefeated teams behind them.
Yeah.
Who's your daddy? Right to your point. You're talking about Luke Fickell going to a Power 5 team. Well, next 2 years, he's going to be in the Big 12, which is a Power 5 conference. But that Power 5 conference still isn't getting the respect of the Big 10 and the SEC.
Yep.
I think the only reason he would not go is he's waiting for the Ohio State job. But he was there once. I don't know if that would hurt him.
Yeah, I don't know. Just because Day's only been there for a few years. If he
Right.
went to the NFL, maybe, but I don't
Ohio
see.
State's not going to get rid of Ryan Day.
No, only if he wanted to go to the
if he
NFL.
wanted to
Oh,
go,
okay.
yeah.
But we've seen how that works out. That's pretty rare.
I don't
I
think,
think college coaches are learning their lesson. They're watching, going, Urban Meyer,
Steve
Harbaugh,
Spurrier. I mean,
Spurrier,
he was
Pete Carroll,
Yeah.
he can.
Like they don't do
Jimmy
well.
Johnson. Those two, they did well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the exception rather than the rule.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's a different beast when you go to the NFL. I would say that we got ahead of ourselves on the Wake Forest thing because I was going to talk about that as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
I want to
just
talk
let
about
this
Wake
boat
Forest.
drive itself, buddy.
That's true. Yeah, good point. Just let it go. So I gotta let go and let God around here. Good Lord. So
we got to talk about Wake Forest.
you gotta talk about Wake Forest in this top because I thought they would jump at least to somewhere in that 5 or 6 range.
Watch if they're playing North Carolina this weekend
In Chapel Hill.
in Chapel Hill.
They're 2-point underdogs in that
Right.
game. I
They're
think.
not even favored. That's
Right.
just silly.
It's ridiculous
Because they
It
have
is-
no defense.
Well, but think about this: is North Carolina? They lost to Notre Dame, but they played really good and held their own. They lost by 10 points or 8 points. If Wake goes in there and solidly beats North Carolina, they move up.
I agree,
and they'll move more than one position.
Yeah, but they're still not going to be near the top.
But if they get
4.
knocked off by North Carolina, number 23.
I think they're going to get knocked off by North
I'm
Carolina.
hoping.
Sam Howell's having, like, statistically, the same year that he had last year, and he's missing like 2,000-yard rushers and like an NFL receiver. It's crazy. So, even though they're 4-4, he's carried that team to those 4 wins, and he's capable of knocking off a Wake Forest who cannot stop.
They're capable of it.
Yeah, but their defense is awful, Wake Forest.
And so
Army has 56 points on them.
But North Carolina is not the same team as everyone thought they would be in the beginning of the season either.
True.
I don't think any ACC team is, and that's what I wanted to make the point of.
Yeah, nobody thought Wake Forest was going to be 9-0 or whatever they are.
8-0.
Is Wake Forest 9-0 or 8-0 because the ACC just sucks, or are they that good of a team? That's the big question that we have, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the ACC is not as strong as they were last couple of years, particularly last year.
Even North Carolina was ranked last year for much of the season.
Now, somebody answer this question for me, please. Where did Michigan State's running back come from? He's a grad transfer, I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Anybody know where he came from?
Illinois, I think, right?
No.
Where did he come from?
I could be wrong. I need to check my figures here. If anybody's got service, let me know.
Look it up in the back room.
I think it's Wake Forest.
What's his name?
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kenneth Walker, I think the third.
He's
Michigan
a beast,
State.
man.
I think he transferred out of Wake Forest. Again, I tend to get schools mixed up. It might be Georgia Tech or something like that.
Yeah, you can't
All
make
I had to do was type Kenneth, and he came up Walker the third.
Yeah, where did he play last year? If it was Wake Forest, wow.
Wow, they got rid of someone that's just phenomenal. Yeah, this guy puts up just amazing
Well, and again, last
numbers.
year Wake Forest wasn't this year's Wake Forest.
He's a junior.
Yeah. Yeah, Wake Forest is always a layup in the ACC.
I don't know if this is another SMU Ole Miss situation on my end, but we're about to find out. But I just thought that was kind of pretty fascinating. That
Wake Forest.
Yeah, so he left Wake Forest,
Yep.
who's undefeated, and now he's on a team that's undefeated, who's ranked higher because they're in the Big Ten.
That's insane.
Good
yeah.
call. And he's like,
He felt the offense that both Wake and Clemson were running was limiting for him.
But if you're a beast of a running back, do you want to play in the ACC or the Big Ten? The Big Ten is where running backs go, and I mean, and the
more
SEC.
running game.
I mean, Alabama always has a good running back. Georgia is always known for having phenomenal running backs. Not this year so much, but they still is it who's their running back at Georgia right now?
they have like a 3. They got like a stable.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
good
they got
point.
a running back by committee in Georgia this year.
Yeah, so I mean, they
But Sonny
always
Michel, Nick Chubb, they came from there.
Chubb, that's it. Yeah, they always
Browns.
have a good group of running backs at Georgia. LSU typically has a good running back as
Fournette,
well.
yeah.
But then the Big Ten always has good running backs as well. So
I can name a few, but we don't need to get in that.
you can go all night on that, I'm sure. So getting away from Wake Forest, let's talk about Cincinnati then. I've been saying this for a while. If you're in the AAC, which is where they're at, right?
Yep.
You're not playing anybody.
That's
you said,
the problem. 51st strength of
It
schedule.
really is. And I was surprised that they would be down to 6 because they beat a top 10 team in the top 10 team's home stadium.
Yeah.
Convincingly, really.
Yep.
They beat an Indiana team. So they did what they had to do outside of their outside of their conference schedule to improve their own schedule. Mm-hmm. Their schedule's probably tougher than most of the ACC teams.
Not the remaining schedule, though.
No. Their overall schedule.
Well, that's why they're ranked ahead of the ACC teams.
Absolutely.
In the big.
Right.
But
if Clemson had been undefeated,
yeah,
and when we don't look at the past seasons like we're supposed to,
that's true.
Clemson's going to be the number 2 team in the country.
But they never got respect in the top. They never. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but
In the AP poll, they're number 2.
yeah, that's true.
In the coaches poll, they're number 2.
Yeah, but a lot of the conversations that they have is based upon the top 25 AP/coaches poll.
Was it Gus Malzahn that just said that he's been around this game for a while? He's played a lot of SEC teams, and he said Cincinnati looks and plays the part. They look like a team that could win the whole thing. So that's coming from him.
Yeah.
Do you think they could? Do
Yeah.
you think they could beat Alabama?
Well,
Yeah.
if we were
on one night, absolutely.
Okay, on one night, but
So
if we
Alabama's
had
got a horrible
16-team
offensive line this
playoff,
year.
they'd have a shot.
say that again.
If they had a 16-team playoff, they'd have a shot. The thing is, they're going to get because of strength of schedule, unless their wins are like 63-0 and 52-0. Unless we see that consistently, and the rest of it, and the rest of everybody else doesn't have any upsets, Cincy's going to be on the outside looking in. But if we had a playoff, if we had a decent playoff, a 16-team playoff, Cincy would have a serious shot.
The reality is the playoffs start right now. Playoffs start in November, and it really does every year because that's how people position. That's how colleges and universities position themselves into. It used to be BCS. Now it's the playoff series. Your playoffs start now. You cannot lose.
You
in
can't
November.
lose in November.
You
Once
can't.
you're ranked at a certain spot.
Unless you're Georgia and you lose in the SEC championship game to one-loss Alabama. That's the only exception. So if you run out 4 weeks is a lot of football games to be played. Mm-hmm. And over this next 4 weeks, we're going to see who, is going to make it. In 2014, Ohio State, and I know I'm a homer, I get it, but Ohio State started out ranked 16th in the first ever playoff poll. Mm-hmm. 4 weeks later, they're number 4. So there's room to move up. A lot of things can happen. I'm not saying the number 16 team is going to move up, but that's plenty of time for a number 6 team to move up to number 4.
There's a lot of cake games that happen in November, though, as well.
Right.
All the in-state rivalries that if one team is really good, ranked, and the other one sucks.
Georgia Tech.
There you go.
That's a layup for Georgia. Georgia doesn't have anyone that are playing decent in November right now.
But you're also getting Ohio State, Michigan. You're also getting the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
You're also going to get. Oregon's going to have to play Stanford, and Stanford not. No. I'm sorry. Oregon already lost to Stanford.
Oregon State.
Oregon State. Well, yeah.
They have Oregon State at the end of the month.
Oregon State's that.
I think
But after November, we're going to get into the conference championship games, and those are going to be quality.
Is it Oklahoma State?
It is.
Yeah. That's definitely a game that Oklahoma State can win.
Right, and if that could just end Oklahoma's season with that game.
Right, Oklahoma State's like ranked 11th or something.
Yeah, but Oklahoma, with this new quarterback they have, what the heck is his name? I can't think of it right now. Caleb Williams. He's a beast.
Why are you pointing at me?
Caleb Williams. Did you see a couple of weeks ago? I don't know if it was last week or the week before that. He literally takes the ball from his.
I think that might have been an illegal play, honestly.
It might have been
because it's like a fumble, and you can't advance a fumble forward.
But no, he took it from the hands of the running back,
which is basically the same as a fumble.
He was behind the line of scrimmage, so he can do whatever he wants to.
Yeah.
So,
but it's still a fumble, and it's advancing a fumble. That's what I say.
Yeah, he actually crossed the line of scrimmage and then went back. So I don't know how that plays out either, because a quarterback can't go running across the line of scrimmage, then run back and then throw the ball. So I don't know. I think it might have been illegal as well. But then again, it's such a weird rule that the referees obviously called it as a win. But he is a player that wants to win with that specific play. And
too, right?
Yeah, but he's willing to go the extra yard to win, and they've been putting up points with him versus Spencer Rattler, which he couldn't score anything. So it's just a different team right now that you're looking at Oklahoma.
I think he got in the second half. First throw, 59-yard bomb for a touchdown.
Yeah, he's they've been putting up points with this new quarterback.
No, I'm talking about Rattler.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, his first play getting back in after getting benched.
Okay.
It was for a 59-yard bomb.
Okay, gotcha. It's still Oklahoma, Choklahoma, whatever you want to call them. They're ranked number 8 right now. Their destiny is in their own hands. The only decent team that they're going to be playing this season right now at this point is Oklahoma State.
And a win there will boost them up probably past Cincinnati. That's the sad thing.
It's true, but then again, they're still not going to be in the top 4 unless one of those top 4 teams loses.
Well, two of the top 4 are guaranteed to lose. Well, I'm sorry, not true. One of those top 4 are guaranteed to lose.
Okay, so Michigan State is not guaranteed to lose, but
Right.
obviously Georgia, Alabama.
Right.
Yeah, because those are the two teams that are most likely going to be in the SEC championship.
And if
Obviously,
Michigan State beats Ohio State, they're going to be the number 2 team in the country.
yeah, Ohio.
If they're undefeated still.
Yeah, the Iron Bowl comes down to Auburn is a pretty good team.
Bo Nix playing Bo Nix ball.
And they're playing at Auburn.
And they're
How about
playing
that,
at
Chavo?
Auburn, so that can push Alabama right out of there. What did you just say?
How about?
How about Auburn?
They're a good team right now.
Yeah. Bo Nix is playing Bo Nix ball.
Yeah, they're looking good. I mean, this weekend's going to define them playing against
Texas A&M.
Did I not have that on my list of things to talk
Yeah,
about?
you
Right?
did. And the cool part is you did the transition.
By mistake.
By mistake.
We don't even need Brookie DC here right now, you know? Although we are missing this guy big time.
Who's Your Daddy was holding up a cue card, so be honest.
I know.
Be
I
honest
know.
to the listeners.
Our people in the back are like,
So
move on to the next subject, quick.
Okay, so Auburn and Texas A&M are both 6-2. The spread's 4.5. Over/under's 49.5, which is fairly low score. If
That
you
is
look
low
at
scoring,
how
yeah.
Auburn's been playing,
Yeah, they've been putting up good points.
big numbers. It's at A&M.
And they say that crowd is going to be the largest crowd that's ever been in that stadium.
I'm gonna have to go with A&M on this one.
Is that the 12th man? Is that the
Yeah.
home of the 12th man?
Yep.
One of the 12th man in the country. There's a few of them out there.
But
Oh, okay.
yeah, they have the Corps of Cadets comes out and does their thing, and
Yeah. I would say that Auburn's playing pretty good ball, but it's going to be very hard to go to College Station and win a game.
If they put it on the ground, they've got 2 really good running backs.
Yep.
And Bo Nix can throw it over
so
top.
And he could run.
if A&M
Dual threat.
if A&M wins, and let's say they win by 10, just
Are you buying us all beer?
no,
Okay.
no. I'll tell you what,
we're
I'll
not-
bring enough ginger line for everybody.
We're not doing any bets this week.
No, but if A&M wins and wins by 10, I'm thinking A&M's going to move up in the polls quite a bit because beating Auburn,
Yeah. But there are two lost teams still.
They're still a
Beating
two-loss.
Alabama.
More than moving up, I think all it's going to do is make Alabama fans happier because it's going to strengthen the Alabama's case to be number 2. Honestly.
But
Because
they lost to Texas A&M.
I know.
So
but
does
the
that-
better quality. So right now, why Ohio State isn't hurting so bad is because, on paper they lost to the number 4 team in the country,
And they're playing the number
and it was a pretty
3.
close team, a pretty close game, and they were missing 15 players.
Okay.
So there's reasons for those kind of things. So if Auburn wins, then Alabama's not going to look as tough as they do, and they'll probably get swapped out. If Michigan State wins this weekend, they'll probably drop down to 3rd. Michigan State will probably jump them.
so
Does Ohio State and Oregon get a rematch in
I
the playoffs?
hope. I would love that. I just don't think it's
Wouldn't
going to
that
happen.
be interesting?
It would. I
Number
would love
2
it.
and number 3. Oregon number 2, Ohio State number 3.
That would be great. I just don't see it happen. I don't see Oregon winning out.
no, I think Oregon's gonna lose a game.
They're not the number 4 team in the country. I mean,
No, I
not at
agree.
all.
that was
I would-
literally just because they
I would
beat
put
Ohio
Cincinnati
State.
ahead of Oregon. And no, I don't think Cincinnati's better than Ohio State. But if you look at their total body of work, they've looked like a better team. So
Who's your daddy? Auburn and Texas A&M. What's going on in your mind?
I kind of disagree with what Chief said. I think
What? You cannot disagree with the Chief.
Here's what I think will happen, and not that Texas A&M won't win the game, but I think in the 4.5 points, I think Auburn can cover that either by a win or get beat 23-19. It's a 4.5 point spread, and so I actually picked Auburn.
You
this
picked
weekend.
Auburn, okay.
Yeah, I think with their running back situation, they're going to grind it out. It's going to be low scoring.
The Tank's going to be running that ball through that defense, wearing them down, and beating them up.
And once again, though, and Chief mentioned this, that home crowd is something else, and this may be the largest they have ever had there. And that's going to play a part.
But if
I
you could
still
run
think
the
it's going to be
ball-
a close game.
So you thinking if you were betting the over/under, you'd go with the under? 49.5.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, 49.
Gotcha.
And
I'd go with the under, and then I'd take Auburn getting 4.5 points.
if Auburn wins, I'm saying when we look at this in a week or Sunday, if Auburn wins, it's probably going to be an over. If A&M wins, it's probably going to be an under.
Okay.
That's my thinking.
I think Auburn I don't know. These teams are both really good teams. They're both teams that, I mean, it's a toss-up. It literally
17-14 game or something.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I'm saying. If A&M wins, they got to hold Auburn. They got to keep Auburn from scoring. And that's why I say they'll go under. But if Auburn wins, Auburn knows they just got to keep putting numbers up.
Does Bo Nix choke because he doesn't do well on the road, or is he...
No.
He doesn't do well on the
They
road.
lost to Penn State with the crowd noise insane. And you know the crowd noise is just going to be
So Sean
off the
Clifford was
charts.
healthy. Sean Clifford and Jahan Dotson, different offense when he's healthy. Against Iowa, he got hurt, and that changed the entire season for Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different team. I think Penn State's got a better defense than A&M does.
Okay.
And I think that's going to open up opportunities. But at the same time, with those two really good running backs that Auburn has, you don't have to rely on Bo Nix as much, which is going to reduce the likelihood that he's going to cause, have a turnover or make mistakes that are going to be detrimental to his team.
Gotcha. All right, so a lot of teams have a path to get in right now. Obviously, Cincinnati does not, but Ohio State, there's a few other, Oklahoma and Wake Forest even maybe have a chance to get in. Chief, my man, I know you want to talk about this. What are some potential upsets this week?
So there's 6 games that I think have strong potentials for upsets. So let's do them one at a time. I'm going to start with Michigan State, Purdue.
Michigan State, Purdue,
It's
okay.
at Purdue, and Purdue has played strong in a few games this year.
So number 3, Michigan State versus unranked Purdue. They definitely are a team that can do it.
It's a 2.5-point spread.
They just got spanked by Wisconsin, right?
Purdue did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the game's in Purdue?
Game's in Purdue, but Purdue beat... Who'd Purdue just beat the week before that? And was
it Penn State?
It was Penn State, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is I think...
Penn State or Iowa, I don't know.
I think it was Penn State.
No, it was Iowa.
Iowa.
It was Iowa.
And,
no, Illinois beat Penn State.
Right.
That's right.
So Purdue, I think, has it in them, and it's at home, and they just lost last week. That's a potential upset, I think. That's probably the biggest potential upset in terms of impact to...
they're going to come out and play their hardest. That's just... that's a team that the players believe in themselves on these big games like that.
I look at Michigan State. They were down like 16 points, 30-14 in the big house.
Yeah.
And came back and won that game. I think they're trending in the right direction. I don't think Purdue's going to get in front of them.
I think that Purdue does not have the defense to stop that running game. I don't think Purdue... I think that if they do have the defense to stop the running game in the first quarter, the second quarter, and maybe even the third quarter and the fourth quarter, they're going to be so worn out that Michigan State's just going to be able to do what they did to Michigan.
And that was really surprising.
Yeah.
All right.
You have a running game. A running game wears out a defense. That's just all there is to it.
But that would be, like, if I can only watch one game this weekend, that's the game to watch.
Game was at Michigan State.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That game was in Michigan State. My bad.
I think that's because they're
You
playing
can't make
Purdue.
mistakes like that live on the show. Ripper the Predictor.
I make all kinds of mistakes.
That's fine.
All right.
I use half information.
Our fans are checking it to make sure. Every week I get email after email.
I hope so.
Man, that Ripper.
Who's your daddy covered for him?
Who's your daddy covered?
I can't tell you how many times
get an
Who's Your
email
Daddy
now.
has covered my ass. What?
Next.
All right.
Next big
one.
upset.
All right.
Bring it to me there, Chief.
Number 11, Oklahoma State, is at West Virginia. Spreads 4.5. Who did WVU just upset?
Well, it wasn't Oklahoma.
No, it was a week ago. They had an upset, or 2 weekends.
Iowa State.
It might have been.
Yeah,
Yes.
still.
Yeah, okay.
So
How
I
about
think
that?
It's at WVU.
Iowa State's not that good.
Oak State. It's at WVU. Iowa State, we used to think was pretty good.
I'm going with Mike Gundy on this one.
Oklahoma State is not going to lose that game.
They could.
I mean,
I'm
anything
going
can
with
happen.
Oklahoma
I'm just
State.
saying, I'm not picking winners here. I'm just saying I went through and I looked.
It's
and
a
I said-
potential
I
upset,
said,
yes.
So
Upset
what are
alert.
the games that you'd put on upset alert? And that was one of them. That was number 11. The next one, it gets a little bit less of an upset alert. Or maybe Mississippi State is at Arkansas. Arkansas played good the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
It's at Arkansas.
And so did Mississippi State.
Mississippi State is the only team that's beat 3 top 25 teams in their schedule. Is what I saw a meme on Facebook the other day.
So it's
Then
gotta
it's
be
gotta
true.
be true.
Yeah.
And you know memes are true. They're the only, but that
I
means
thought it was pronounced May. Was I wrong?
No, that's
Maybe.
Mimi.
Mimi. I don't even know. I'm too old to know this stuff, you know. But okay,
I don't know why I
so
said
you
that.
think? I mean,
I think it's a
Arkansas.
potential.
Arkansas has a good team. I mean, they were in the top 10 earlier this season.
Yeah,
right?
and then they started losing.
Yeah, then they started
Tends to
losing,
drop
and
you down a little bit.
they just shot themselves in the foot.
Well,
but
they're not ranked right now. Mississippi State's 14. Like I said, I call this an upset alert. Just keep your eye on
Mississippi
that game.
State is ranked 14th.
Yeah.
So where's Ole Miss at? 19th, 18th?
I didn't have them as a potential upset. I have to look on.
Okay, yeah, because they're probably not going to lose. That's interesting.
All
That's
right, the
interesting.
next one I
Next
got-
one.
North Carolina State is at Doak Campbell at FSU.
Why are
Who
we
do you
talking
think's
about
going to
this
win
game?
that game?
I think that of all those
FSU's playing good football right now. They
FSU
figured out how to play.
FSU, I mean,
But neither team is ranked, right?
no, NC State's 19.
Actually, FSU lost last week. They're not playing good football.
Who
They
is?
lost
NC
to-
State's 19? Oh,
19,
it beat
but
Clemson.
FSU lost to Clemson. It was 24-20.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
going into the end of the game, FSU had to score a touchdown. They did a trick play. They fumbled. Defense recovered the ball and scored a touchdown. That's why the score was 30-20.
Huh.
But FSU, I think, was playing good ball. I think they've been playing good ball the last few games. And I think NC State coming into their home turf.
I think the biggest upset of the week. Finish your thought.
I just think NC State coming into FSU. FSU is pining for a win.
Yeah.
I think that's
I don't think FSU has a chance because they're just. I mean, actually, I hope that they do win. I hope that they get at least some momentum going in against the Gators because I want that to be a good game at the end of the month. But
I got
know.
two more, but one.
two more.
One I want to bring up that I think is a quick discussion, and that's SMU at Memphis. SMU's 24th. They lost last weekend.
They're not going to lose again. Then.
I don't even have them ranked.
They're okay.
Are they in the top 25 for the college playoff?
No, they're top 25. They're number 24.
Not in the playoffs.
AP
San Diego State is.
It depends which poll. The poll I pulled.
Yeah, I'm pulling the college playoff.
Okay.
I don't know if I was pulling AP or USA Today. And then
Memphis isn't
this
gonna
is
win
one
that
I want to
game.
talk about because this is although none of us sitting here tonight are fans of either school or big
We
fans.
do have fans listening, though.
But we have a lot
And
of
that's the most important thing.
Exactly. So Tennessee is at number 18, Kentucky. The spread is half a point.
Who's going to win that game, then?
Well, I mean,
I got Kentucky at 18.
Kentucky's ranked. Kentucky's ranked.
Tennessee's
18th.
playing
They're
good ball
playing
this
at
season.
Kentucky, but Tennessee's playing good ball, and I could see them really playing hard for the upset. And it's a rivalry.
Yeah. That's interesting.
What do you think, Ripper?
Well,
On any of those?
what I'm really looking at right now is, and I'm kind of getting away from your point on the upsets. What I'm seeing here is it's not going to be long until we have a 2-conference, college football.
There's more than 2?
Really, there's only.
Yeah, really.
I mean, right now, out of our 25 teams ranked in the college football playoff, 7 come from the SEC, 6 come from the Big Ten. Now, it wasn't long ago, like last week, 2 weeks ago, we're talking about how Wisconsin was dead in the water. Were we not?
Yeah, but now they're doing
Yeah, but
pretty
I've
good.
been picking Wisconsin week after week. They finally
Wisconsin,
come alive.
5-3, ranked 21. Minnesota got beat by like Bowling Green or somebody.
Bowling Green.
They're ranked 20th. Minnesota is ranked 20th. Top 20 teams
That's
in the
because of
country.
strength of schedule and the teams that they're beating.
I understand.
And the teams that they're beating that are beating other teams that are good as well, and it's a mesh of just
It's like,
but
it's
what
like
I'm saying is-
football.
a domino game of beatings.
Yeah, anything can happen in the Big Ten except for Nebraska winning a big game, and anything can happen in the SEC except for Vanderbilt winning a game.
So,
And
all
that's
right,
it.
to that point, this is why I'm nervous about this weekend as an Ohio State fan.
Who's Ohio State playing?
Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska is gonna.
They have lost
Are they home
6
or away?
games this year
At Nebraska.
at Nebraska.
Ooh.
Nebraska is 3-6.
They are within 4 points every time they play.
8.
Any team they play.
They haven't lost by more than 8 points all season long.
Yeah, Scott Frost is
And that
dying for a big win.
Yeah, if he doesn't, I think they're going to give him another year because he's getting close.
He's getting close.
I mean, he really
He
is.
deserves another year because
Yeah.
he's literally within every big game that he's in is within 4 points every single time.
So-
Oklahoma, you know,
But it's these little, scenarios that kind of play out to make November a very interesting month in college football because it's just not Ohio State, Nebraska. It's just not the Big Ten. All of our conferences have little scenarios and situations like this. They're going to play out. So it's fun to talk about who we think should be ranked where they are at. And let's continue to do that. But the real story is how things play out.
I like where it's at right now because
Yeah.
everybody in that top 10 controls their own destiny right now.
Ish.
Every single one of them.
Ish.
Yeah, except for Cincinnati. But I think if you look at that at least the top 8, every one of those people every one of those teams control their own destiny. They can have a loss and bump out, or they could win out and get in. And obviously Oklahoma, if they win out, but also Ohio State and Alabama and so win out, then maybe it's not going to play out the way it needs to. But then again, anything could happen in November. Anything could happen in the championship games for those conferences as well.
So I want to bring up a college football topic that it's off topic, but it was in the news this afternoon. So James Madison is moving up from FCS to FBS.
Okay.
But they're going to announce it. Like it wasn't announced.
Yeah, I heard about that as well.
So they're in the CAA. I think that's the Colonial Athletic Conference.
I don't even know. Yeah.
They've come in second in the nation the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think
In
they
the
won
FCS.
before too. Yeah,
They may
they
have
normally
won,
lose it like North
They
Dakota
lost
State.
it exactly.
Yeah.
It's always North Dakota State and James Madison are like the 2 best FCS schools.
That's right. We pay attention to the little guys too.
We have lots of fans that are James Madison grads.
Hey,
I mean,
there you go.
Yep.
alumni, baby.
But the CAA said if you announce that you're leaving, you were not going to allow you to play for the championship
Oh, that sucks. Okay.
in the conference.
But they're still going to get into a better conference next year then.
Yeah, so they're caught with they have to announce by a certain date. Well, they'll be moving up to the bowl division.
And they're going to come in and get destroyed.
Appalachian State didn't take them long.
Yeah, I guess so. That's true.
I think you're looking at another Appalachian State scenario. I mean,
Let's move to
NFL.
NFL quickly.
One thing before you do, don't forget what Hoosier Daddy said. 2 upsets. 3 and 4 is going down this weekend.
3 and 4 are going down this
3 and 4.
weekend.
Don't forget that. Next
Michigan
Thursday night
State.
at Purdue. Boom, they're bounced.
Done.
And
Oregon?
Oregon is at Washington. Boom, they're bounced.
They're done. Okay, Washington's
So-
4 and 4.
We talked about how they would lose one more game.
Yeah, they
I think
control
it's
their own
gonna-
destiny right now.
Who's your predictor right there?
The Hoosier predictor.
Who's your predictor?
Next Thursday we'll have an
All
awful
right.
lot to talk
Number
about.
1 dad glass. Number 1 predictor glass, too. We'll talk about that next week. So, why does Detroit suck so bad in the NFL?
Oh, I got a whole page on that.
Let's freaking talk about it then, guys.
Is it because the Rooster picked them to win their first game last week?
He did. And I think he bet everybody like 15 shots.
I think so.
He actually owes us like $1 million right
We
now.
better get back to the bar then when Rooster's here.
I know. We're going to be
All right.
drinking good next week. Keep an eye out and listen to that show because we're going to be in ripe spirit there, baby.
They're the 29th best team in scoring in the NFL. That's pretty weak.
They're what?
29th in scoring.
Okay.
They're 28th in pass yards attempt. 27th in first quarter scoring. 30th in second quarter scoring, 28th in passing touchdowns per game, 27th in rushing. And
So
that's
they're
just
that bad.
That's just the offense.
So not
Okay.
good.
Chief, I love your stats. Why don't you just say they're bad?
Let's just say
They ain't good.
Detroit sucks.
Their defense is the worst in the NFL.
Okay.
I mean,
No,
I'm not
I mean,
even
if
going
you
to
can't
go through all
stop
the
people
stats.
from scoring, and if you can't score, that pretty much sums
do you
it up.
think they're intentionally being bad, or do you think that they're just bad? Because every one of those
Is
players.
Patricia still there?
Who?
Matt Patricia?
I wouldn't even know. I
No,
couldn't even
he's
name a
not there.
player on that team. So
No, that was
He
the
was
coach.
the coach.
Oh,
he's
he's
not
not.
there.
yeah, I don't know. I mean that's the only topic I have for NFL, except for Browns 4-4, Bengals 5-3. Who's gonna win that game on Sunday? That's a big game for y'all,
Well,
Ohio.
There's so much drama going on right now. Cleveland has the talent and the coaching to be very successful and make it pretty deep in the playoffs. Problem is, we've been hampered by a lot of injuries all year, and we have a lot of drama going on with our receiving corps with Odell Beckham Jr. and his dad saying that the quarterback is intentionally not throwing to his son.
Yeah,
So,
that's weird, isn't it?
yeah, so for the last 2 days, the Browns have told Odell to stay home and not come to practice. The rumor is that
I heard he's done.
yeah, the rumor is that he's no longer on the team, a member of the team. I think they're working out, financially how they can do that legally. I wouldn't be surprised if he came back. I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed gone.
Yeah.
So
I had no idea there were helicopter parents in the NFL. Did you?
Yeah, that's insane that this guy's dad is sending out a 7-minute video on 12-minute video on
12.
YouTube of his son not being thrown to when he's
and half of the video, he looks like he's got some stuff to talk about.
It's
I mean,
hold on, but if you put together a video for your son, are you going to put?
he didn't put it together. He just shared it.
Well, okay, hold on. If
Somebody
there's-
else made it. He shared it,
Okay.
and now the Browns are like, seriously?
Seriously?
He needs to be gone. He can't come back, and you can't come back and cover up what he's done to his team and the teammates, and they need to move on. Whether they were talking today, whether they put him on injured reserve because of his shoulder and don't play him, do like Houston's doing with their quarterback, pay him throughout the rest of the year, then boom, he doesn't have any guaranteed salary next year, let him go.
Yeah, I say stop crying, play football.
Well,
if you're not getting past through, that's your
Odell
distraction.
Beckham has not misbehaved since he's been in Cleveland. He's been a good teammate. The
Yeah.
reality of the situation is there is something that's just not working out between him and the quarterback. They're not timing up together. They're not working. So this project just isn't working out. So I don't fault Odell Beckham for
If
this.
there's no chemistry,
Right,
then
I don't
you move
fault
on.
him for that, and I'm not going to talk down upon him for it. But for him and for the Browns, they need to go ahead and separate and go their different ways.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at, I follow the Patriots, and if you look at Tom Brady, he'll always have a couple guys that he throws to, and it changes every season. There's just chemistry that a quarterback has between certain receivers, certain players.
I think Tom Brady's got chemistry with every receiver.
Yeah, but
It
there's
doesn't matter who he's got there. Remember when he had Randy Moss? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but there's certain times where there's certain games specifically where he'll have one player that's constantly
Gronk.
getting thrown to. Yeah.
Did somebody say Gronk?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we gotta slowly wrap this thing up. I only had an hour before my wife. I know I sound like a wimp. Before my wife is gonna be walking to the store saying, "What the hell's going on?"
Your lovely lady.
My lovely lady, yeah, and we love our wives around here at the Guys.
We
Brothers
definitely
Sports.
do.
Even though we say shows before hoes.
No, you say that. I've never said
I
that.
would
No,
never
we
say
all,
that.
we all say shows before hoes. We really realize that they are in control. So, moving on, last point that we're going to make really quick. 1 week until college basketball starts. Is anyone excited about that?
Oh, this guy right here.
My man, Hoosier Daddy!
Yes.
He's excited about
Those
this.
Hoosiers are on the upswing, baby.
I know. The question I have is, what do you think? Gonzaga is going to have a good team. They have 3 of the top 25 players in the country right now. I think they're going to the top. I think they're going to the championship game again, and I think they're.
Damn,
going to
that's a bold prediction.
All right.
And week -4 or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
I know, whatever.
And look out for a sleeper, I think, too, is he's led the nation in transfer portal is Texas.
Texas.
They've got a lot of great players.
Yeah, they're going to be
They
good.
may need to play with two basketballs.
I'm trying to figure out Duke this year. It's Mike Krzyzewski's last year.
Spell his name.
Oh, it starts with a K.
Coachk.
Yeah.
It starts with a K.
That's it, yeah. Coach K
That's
is...
why it's Coach K.
Last season there, he has a lot of returning players. He had a young team
It took me
last year.
30
They were
years
not
to
good.
learn how to say his name.
Yeah. This year, they're actually ranked 9 going into the season. So.
Ohio State, I think, is 16th.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. I'm looking forward to it. Last 30 seconds of the show is my man, the Rippers. Go.
All right, so I'm not going to be here next week for the show.
What? Oh, my God.
So
what are you doing?
I will be participating in the South Carolina Bass Federation State Championship Tournament up on Lake Hartwell. I'm practicing on Veterans Day, November 11th. The tournament is November 12th and 13th. Send me some good luck, send me some good vibes, and I'll try to bring back the trophy for the team.
Bring it back for us, baby.
Boom.
Good luck, man. I appreciate you. And keep on coming back every week for more Guys at the Bar talking
Sports!
It's your boy, Hanger, looking for a beer. Actually, we're all looking for a beer, so if you want to buy the guys a beer, at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports on Venmo. That's it. Easy as drinking a beer. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, man, how can I help these guys out? Well, first thing you can do, subscribe to the show. By subscribing to the show, you'll be able to hear it every single week on your favorite podcatcher. Second thing you do, if your podcatcher lets you do it, give it a review and 5 stars. I know Apple Podcasts will allow you to do that. So give it 5 stars and a review. And then the third thing you do is hop on Facebook, type in Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. You'll see our group there. Join it. You'll love it. Best sports group on Facebook, guaranteed. Lots of good stuff going on in there, so check it out. And then come back next week for Guys at the Bar Talking Sports.